I'm a Florida girl, so I grew up in the sun that is a real tan, that is not a fake tan. Hi, Allure, it's Mandy Moore, and today I'm gonna be breaking down some of my most iconic looks.
Oh, but listen, Jan, my friends and I were wondering, this sweater you're wearing, was it designed for you, or did the knitting machine just blow up?
Princess Diaries 2001. I mean, I guess I just sort of leaned on some of the, mean girls that I went to school with that were a little bit of a bully. I did go to Catholic school for a good half a year, so I was very used to the uniform, although we rolled up our skirts quite a bit shorter than my character does in the film. I came as a blonde. I mean, that's sort of like who I was in the music days back then anyway. But for the character of Lana Thomas, I was really happy to let the costume designer and the key hair and makeup department heads kind of lead the charge with where they saw the character going. I'm such a people pleaser anyway, and I was so happy to have the opportunity. There's no way that I would have barged in on my first film and been like, excuse me, I have some ideas. I love, performers like Bette Midler, who did everything, who did TV and movies and made records and went on tour and did Broadway, and I kind of I grew up a musical theater kid, and I was like, I want to do everything if someone would give me the opportunity. When I got offered this small part on the Princess Diaries, I was like, wow, this is like summer camp. I get to be around a bunch of kids my age, Annie and Heather and Robert. It was so much fun. It's like the greatest tight-knit group for, the couple months that you're working together, and I was totally addicted. It was so much new information to take in. I was like, how do I hit a mark? And making sure that I had my lines memorized. And the stakes felt really high, but it was also such a super comfortable environment with Gary Marshall and a bunch of other kids my age.
So there is talk of a possible Princess Diaries 3.
I have only heard what the internet has heard as well. I would love if my character just popped in for a little cameo and was like, hi, I've reformed myself. I've realized the error of my ways. I don't know, maybe karma hit her out of high school or something. Candy, 1999. I'm not sure who did my hair or my makeup because I was 15 and it was my very first time on a set doing anything remotely professional. I'm not quite sure whose idea it was to do my hair in those weird little space buns that stuck out like that. I feel like the whole look of the primary colors, everything that I'm wearing, my makeup and the hair, it was something that somebody just put me in. I was just excited to be in this position and to have this opportunity. I'd never made a music video before. I was beyond excited. I will say those extensions were not doing me any favors. They were super blunt. Somebody sewed them into my hair that day, but I was just excited. I was like, wow, I have instant long hair. It was so much fun to change, multiple times and have different wardrobe and obviously different hair and makeup. The little armband wrapped around my, all of it. That is a look that I did replicate myself somehow when I went on tour with NSYNC, I don't know, a month after we shot this music video. I really sort of tried to level it up, take it up the next notch. I did a zigzag part and I started putting gluing in little crystals. I think I did do my own makeup on the road, but here I definitely had somewhat. It was age appropriate. I will say when I look back on this time period, there was never anyone pushing me to do anything outside of my comfort zone. Nobody was telling me I needed to dress a certain way or push myself into wearing something or looking a way that I didn't feel was comfortable. So I loved that I was still very much allowed to be a regular 15-year-old, and it was I just got to go on a shopping spree at the mall or something. It was so much fun. A Walk to Remember 2002. I dyed my hair for A Walk to Remember. It was a big part of kind of getting into character. It was how Adam Shankman, our director, saw my character, Jamie Sullivan. She was brunette, she had bangs, and so it was I was more than happy to go through any sort of transformation. I think it did help me, again, as a new actor, not having a ton of experience, really sink into character and feel unlike myself. I loved that Jamie was always comfortable in her skin. She knew that she was an outlier and an outsider, and for the most part, she didn't let that bother her. The scene where I'm in the school play and I sing Only Hope, I think we filmed that scene right around my birthday. I I'm sort of dressed in a manner, in a way that like is very atypical for my character. She's pretty plain, like a pretty modest dresser, and she's in this like beautiful ice blue dress that has been made for her as a costume for the play, and my hair's done and I'm wearing makeup, like all of this for the first time. And I'd like to think that it's not just how she is presenting herself, but it's also her singing that kind of like makes Landon, Shane's character, kind of notice her in a new way and realize like, oh wow, I think I have feelings for this woman. I mean, beyond the obvious of like just not having a ton of experience working with someone like Shane West, who had like done films and he was on a TV show at that time, like he really knew how to be an actor, and all of that was like new territory for me. But also like being so young and not having the experience of ever like really being in love before. Shane made it so easy to, you know, fall in love with that character, and it was the best experience. MTV Music Video Awards 2004. Oh, okay, we're moving and shaking, guys. I loved having the short hair. I cut my hair for a movie a couple years before this. I was really like living for the short hair. This wasn't like Mia Farrow short, but it was like as short as I kind of went. I loved how kind of low maintenance it was. I remember, do you know the Toncho stick? I'm sure it's still around. It's like a really kind of dry, it smells really good, like a pomade. And I remember that's what I would use on my hair. And it was so easy. Like I could just kind of wake up, put a little Toncho in my hands and like kind of spike my hair around and go. It was the best. I feel like I was wearing a Calvin Klein dress because I had worn some Calvin Klein like earlier to like a premiere or something. When I did have to go to an event or a premiere, or I was getting dressed up for something, I think I leaned into how tan I was at this particular moment. I'm a Florida girl, so I grew up in the sun that is a real tan, that is not a fake tan. But this does feel very 2004 to me, like a quintessential Mandy look at the time. Like it's a cheek, it's a little bit of a smoky eye. Like it feels elevated for an award show, but it still feels very age appropriate and very me. I grew up on MTV. I grew up with all of those VJs and Carson and just all of the crew at MTV at 1515. So when I think back to MTV, I think back to quick changes, quick hair and makeup changes and wardrobe changes. And as like a young woman, the opportunity to like go through hair and makeup, like I was never one that turned down an opportunity to sit in glam. I loved it. I'm like, sure, change my nail polish, change my lips, wash my face and start over. Like I still love like sitting in the chair, and like the whole experience is so much fun. But especially as like a young person, I really leaned into all of that. So this is the Vanity Fair Oscar party in 2001. Oh my gosh. Okay, I like how clean and simple it was. I like that you could see my skin. I don't know who did my hair and makeup for this. We're talking like 25 years ago, but I do remember it was like my first foray into sort of an adult world and going to something that felt very exclusive. And so this was my idea of like what a movie star looked like. I can't say that I subscribed to the hair. I like where I was going. You know, someone put like a little bit of a lash on me, and the winged eyeliner and like sort of the pink glossy lip feels very age appropriate, but also like very of the moment in 2001. And those gigantic diamond earrings, good gracious. Because I wasn't able to go to my own prom and I didn't have that like typical high school experience, like I got to treat some of these events, whether it was the Vanity Fair Oscar party or like a premiere or something, I got to treat those events as like, what would I like to look like if I were going to prom with my friends right now? And I think this is kind of evidence of that. This is us from 2016 to 2022.
I wonder who she was.
I never have.
Rebecca Pearson, yeah. I got to play this woman from like 16 in one episode, which they definitely used some lovely computer stuff to de-age me a little bit, all the way till 80, in her like mid 80s. And every age in between, we used prosthetics, we used wigs, more makeup, less makeup, lashes, no lashes, like just everything under the sun. And obviously sprinkling in wardrobe choices to kind of complement everything. But I really feel like this was a show that was about hair and makeup. I feel like she had this sort of bohemian spirit to her always, with long necklaces and cardigans and sort of looser clothing. Like there was this sort of artistic element to who she always sort of was. She does go through some transformations, but it's funny because I look back at like pictures of my own mom and grandma, and they did as well. I mean, it was always so fun to go back to the 70s just because I think if I could pick a time period to have grown up in, I definitely would have picked the 70s, like the late 60s, early 70s. So like anytime we were able to go there and make her young and fresh and have like the coolest vintage dresses and jewelry. And yeah, I didn't have to be a tired mom. That was always really fun. My life changed so fundamentally during this time. I started the show as a single woman. I got engaged, I got married, and I had my first child. At the very end, I was pregnant with my second kid right when we were wrapping up. Like, I was given the opportunity to do things and challenge myself in ways that no one had ever given me permission to do before. I'm so grateful to Dan Fogelman for the role of a lifetime, truly. And I think it will be hard for anything in my life to ever top this experience. Creatively, the friends I made, the work we all got to do together, what it meant to other people out there, what it meant to us, like all of that is just like such a once in a lifetime thing. Met Gala 2017. This was the Met Gala. I went with Michael Kors, and Jen and Ashley, the Stryker sisters, they did my hair and makeup. I feel like we really leaned into the asymmetrical sleeves and the one glove and a really big swing with the makeup, but also it's like, it's the Met. That's kind of what you want to do. There's a lot going on with the dress. It's cashmere, but it has these sort of origami like flowers up and down it, but because it's such a dark color, it's hard to sort of see the detail. So I think we were kind of leaning into the makeup and hair, kind of doing a bit more of the heavy lifting. And I had these like, you can't really see, but Ash put these like weird metal pieces in my hair that felt very architectural as well. Gosh, I'm trying to think of how I met them. I think we were introduced by friends, and like back in the day, the three sisters had a salon here in Los Angeles. One does eyebrows, one does makeup, and one does hair. So it was like sort of one-stop shopping. And this was like my team. These were my ladies, my girls. I worked with them like multiple times a week. This was like the heyday of This Is Us, and there was so much going on. So I felt so comfortable to experiment with them. I definitely prefer like a bit more of a subtler red carpet look. So this was something I'd never done before. But again, if like you're not gonna go big at the Met, then when are you gonna do something like this? So this was like my first time attending where it felt like really intimidating and scary. You can kind of tell by my face, I'm like, what the F am I doing here? Emmy Awards 2019. Jen and Ash back again for hair and makeup. Brandon Maxwell made me this outfit, which I love. I think that's my favorite color combo, the pink and the red. I was nominated for Best Actress in a Drama. It was really fun. We kind of leaned into like more of a 90s moment here. Looking back at like our Pinterest board, it was like a lot of like Cindy Crawford, like the sort of like really done kind of hair of the 90s. And I think the makeup too I think it's complimentary. It's a lot because, it's a big red carpet event. Brandon made this sort of custom look for the awards for me with the top and the skirt and the cummerbund, but like there's still a subtlety to it. I think you can still see my skin and like my brows, and like it feels bold without being like overpowering because the dress is like, that's a lot of color and it's off the shoulder, and there was a lot going on. I'd never really done that before, and I was like, this is my big night. I want to really do it up if we're going to do it properly. So I'm glad I had that chance. The Breadwinner 2026. Yeah, Alexis and Bex and Lindsay, hair and makeup, and our costume designer. Katie Wilcox, my character in the film, is like, she's a busy mom when this like extraordinary opportunity sort of lands in their lap, and Katie invents something that takes her to Shark Tank. She ends up getting a deal with Lori, one of the sharks, and her business sort of like takes off, and she has to kind of follow the chaos, and she leaves her husband, Nate, home to take care of their 3 daughters, and real chaos ensues. So I didn't wear a ton of makeup, and my hair was sort of like, just my hair. I kind of just want to look like myself. It was done every day and like a little bit of bend added to it, but I've since had to change my hair for work, so it looks wildly different, but that was my hair a year ago. That's what it looked like. Nate is so wonderful. He's such a hustler too. Like, this was his first film and we were working every day, or he was working every day. And then like in between on the weekends, he was like flying and doing stand-up. Like, it was truly wild how hard he works. I feel like this film really harkens back to like a lot of the family films I grew up loving. So I'm super grateful to be a part of it and grateful that like I get to show it to my kids one day and say like, remember that summer that like I was popping around and in and out of town and like, this is what I was doing. Thank you so much for going down memory lane with me. It really means a lot to be able to share some of those memories with you guys. Bye, Allure.